Hello, how's it going? It is me, Kahvan, joining you here with the Sensei'S podcast on the akhi&saltfish digital network. Last night was crazy. UFC 274, Charles Oliveira beat up Justin Gaethje, choked him out in the first round, but he is no longer the UFC undisputed lightweight champion of the world because he missed weight on the scales. He lost his title. Canelo, the pound for pound #1, lost on Cinco de Mayo weekend. And Kell Brook, the special one, has announced his retirement. There was so much more. Tony Ferguson got cleaned out as well. Listen, we've got a load to talk about. So without further ado, let's get stuck in. This is episode 6, Sensei'S on the akhi&saltfish digital network. Let's go. Okay, so first of all, thanks to Troy for producing that opening track that you heard just then. Appreciate it as always, but let's get stuck in, okay? So, look, there's loads I've got to catch up on, and loads I've got to catch you up on, really. So, right. Let's start with the start of UFC 274, okay? So, I'll wake up about, I think, 3:30. I tell Google to delay the alarm for another half an hour. I actually get up about 4 o'clock. So I see the Shogun versus OSP round 2 onwards. Nothing I'm really going to get into there, to be honest with you. Yeah, OSP won. Like I said, I didn't catch the whole fight. From what I saw, it looked like maybe Shogun could have got it. I'm not really going to mention it anything more than that. Shogun's a legend. He didn't get knocked out. That's always a bonus when a legend doesn't get knocked out. And OSP's got a nice win now. So good job. One thing to note as well is... what's his name? Donald Cerrone. He didn't fight. He got ill after the weigh-in, food poisoning. Apparently went to some taco place and got food poisoning. And then he pulled out the fight with Joe Lozon. So we never actually got to see that Legends match opening up the card, which is quite a shame, really. They're trying to rebook the fight for 155 as soon as possible, but Joe Lozon is doubtful, according to Dana, that the fight will actually take place at 155. So whether we see that fight or not is still up in the air. It's a shame that it ended so close to it beginning. So yeah. Okay, so let's get stuck into what we're all here to speak about. Michael Chandler versus Tony Ferguson. Wow. Just wow. Tony Ferguson got absolutely knocked clean out. I couldn't believe it, and I still can't believe it, if I'm honest. First round starts off, Chandler comes out his usual aggressive front foot self, but then Tony Ferguson drops Chandler. What? Tony Ferguson drops Chandler. What the hell happened, right? So as I'm saying, Chandler comes out his exuberant self. He gets caught on the way out. Shit, Tony Ferguson is still that guy. He's still the boogeyman. And he's on his front foot. He's pushing Chandler back. Chandler is still a bit rocked. He's getting caught every now and then. It looks like maybe Tony might get him out of here now, or if not now, soon. Then, of course, Chandler takes him down because he leans on his skill set, right? He took him down, landed a good bit of ground and pound, but Tony also landed some elbows on the bottom, sharp elbows, as Tony always does. Ended the first round. They're both bleeding. Great. Tony's back, room for a real fight here. I don't know if Chandler can last like Tony can last. Okay, that's the theme going in. Round 2. I'm not even gonna talk about what happened in round 2 because we all know the ending of round 2. I'm gonna just get straight to that. Boom. Soccer kick, football kick, up kick, whatever you want to call it, straight to the chin. Tony Ferguson collapses to the ground. He's out cold. What the hell? First of all, shout out to Chandler because you know what? He did what he had to do. I still can't believe it. He got him out of there. Tired me was completely shocked. And it's so scary to see a human being out like that. And he was out for a good 2 minutes. Chandler was doing about 3-4 backflips, which is really, really OTT. Way too OTT. But it's him. It shows how athletic he is, how explosive he is. To be able to do those things at 36 is insane. I can't even do them now. the UFC are doing sponsored replays. You know, the difference between UFC and boxing is if someone gets knocked out in boxing, you know, they're calming the crowd down. They're not showing any replays till they know they're okay. They're getting them oxygen, all these sorts of priority things. UFC, they might have put in, this replay is sponsored by P3 Snacks. You know what I mean? Like that UFC is about making money. And honestly, these fighters are commodities. And what's quite sad actually on that note is that in the build-up of this fight, Tony realised how much of a commodity he was. And he was saying, you know, he took fights when he wasn't training properly, when he shouldn't have taken fights. You know, remember, Tony was the interim champion, about to fight for the title. And then he blew his knee out. He tripped on a cable at Fox Sports doing promotion for the fight on fight week. He blew his knee out. Couldn't take part. They stripped him of his title. Tony did so much. He was on a 12-fight winning streak. He did so much for the sport, for the division, for the company, UFC. And he was effectively tossed aside when he was no longer of value. And what was quite sad is he was coming around to that realization that actually he needs to maintain value for his own sake. This is all about him. And he showed up in the first round looking great, and then he got knocked out. So it was really quite a sad ending, and I think it is the end of Tony Ferguson's career. I almost hope it is as well, because I don't want to see the man take any more damage. He took damage in his heyday, let alone his downfall. Yeah, all the best to Tony Ferguson, and you know what? Where does Michael Chandler go from here? He did an amazing call out of the winner of the main event, which we'll get to later. He also called out Conor McGregor. I'd like to see Chandler have a little bit of a rest. Hopefully that aligns then with Conor McGregor's schedule. I wouldn't mind seeing Conor McGregor, Michael Chandler, 170. Why are we even bothering to cut weight? Why do we cut weight in the first place? That's a whole other discussion for another day. But 170, Michael Chandler versus McGregor, I think it's a winnable fight for McGregor. I think Chandler's shown himself to be vulnerable early. And I think it's a 50-50 fight. So good. Really looking forward to that one, actually. So yeah, hopefully that happens. I'd like to see that. Chandler deserves it. He deserves the hype. And what was quite sad actually after the fight was, you know, Tony obviously stood up there in the middle of the ring, and obviously the result gets announced. He had no idea where he was. No idea. It's really sad, and I think about it now, and I see the replays, and obviously it's the title of this podcast, right? So it's a moment, but it's sad. One question I suppose I ask you guys is, was it the best front kick of all time? I think so. You've obviously got Anderson versus Vitor Belfort. You've got Lyoto Machida versus Randy Couture. You've got the other one the other day, Chito Vera versus Frankie Edgar. Some amazing shots. But yeah, I think, wow, man, Jesus Christ. Tony Ferguson, the boogeyman, El Kukui got cleaned out, man. But what a run Michael Chandler's on, by the way. Win or lose, he's bloody exciting, and I want to watch all of his fights. So, yeah, amazing. By the way, if you're interested in some Michael Chandler knockouts as well, head over to @Sensei'S on Instagram and check out the video we posted yesterday on May 7th, because, it shows you one of the great Michael Chandler knockouts. Sign me up for the McGregor fight. You know what I mean? I think 50-50 now, but I said 60-40 last night, so maybe it is 60-40. Right, after that, we got the Rose Namajunas versus, what's her name? Carla Esparza. What's the point in even talking about that fight, man? Seriously? That fight was like a waste of time. Carla, I mean, she showed up, she won, she gets married next week, she's on a run, she's got a honeymoon the week after that, she's living a great life, right? Living the best life. Wow, amazing. Rose was, I don't know, I don't want to say she was off, I don't think she was off, I think she was just dumb. Like, she showed up, bounced around around the octagon, didn't really show up, the point is, when you're fighting someone who's got such a one-dimensional skill set like Carla has, in that she's a explicit wrestler, yeah, and it's explicit wrestler, that's all she does, right? That's all she does. There is no nuance to anything else of which she does, right? What the hell, Rose, yeah? Your takedown defense is okay. You can and by the way, by rounds 2, 3, 4, 5, we knew you could shake her off. So you should know you could shake her off. Therefore, get in the pocket and fight her. Put your striking onto her. Put your pros. What's the word I'm looking for? Put your superior striking into her, so that when she tries to apply her skill set, you nullify her. What the hell? Rose didn't do that. She bounced around, landed a couple jabs. That was it. Carla was grabbing onto her, controlling the center of the octagon. And ultimately, that's what won her the fight, that controlling of the octagon. That won her the fight. And Rose acted surprised, and her corner acted surprised, and I don't know what was going on. Pat Barry, obviously, that's her husband or partner, whatever you want to call him. He was, see, they're booing. You're doing it right. Yeah. It almost was like Derek Lewis versus Francis Ngannou or UL versus Izzy. But in both of those cases, the winners had a slightly more improved strategy in that, okay, you're nullifying the other person, but you're also applying a little bit of your own strengths as well. Really boring. And at 5 a.m, it was not ideal. So we'll move on from that. Again, Rose says, I'm the best. Show it then. Do you know what I'm saying? And then at the end, you want to act all amped up and buzzed. Boring, man. Move on. It's a shame as well because the way the UFC works, obviously there's no rematch clauses. And Rose probably is the best. This is the frustration. That's why I'm so angry, because Rose, you are the best, but you have to show it, man. Anyway, we'll move on. While all this is going on as well, Canelo is getting his ass whooped by Bivol. So I said in the last podcast, and I should own up to this, shouldn't I? First of all, I got my picks wrong for Rose. I got my picks right for what do you call it? Michael Chandler. Randy Brown did beat Chaos Williams by decision, so I got my pick right there. I predicted, I want to say Shogun to win, and he didn't. So okay, about half and half there. I predicted Canelo would win the boxing match. It was the Canelo show. I couldn't see a way where Bivol could win on points. He bloody won on points, didn't he? He did what he had to do. He got it done. The judges almost got it right. They got the result right. They didn't get the score right. 115, 113, unanimous. And wasn't that close. It was nowhere near that close. Canelo was outboxed. He was outwitted. He was outfoxed. He was out-footworked. He was out-jabbed. Amazing, man. Shout out Bivol. I've only seen one of his fights versus Craig Richards. It was a lackluster performance. Obviously, he had way more in the tank, it seems. He just beat the pound-for-pound king. Does that make him the pound-for-pound king? No. Canelo's still top 3, top 4. I'd probably put Usyk, T-Bud. Who else? I'd probably put Usyk and T-Bud above him. Inoue, maybe. Yeah. Usyk number 1, T-Bud number 2, Canelo 3. Look, Canelo did a lot, man. He's gone up through the divisions. He's been dominant. He's lost twice to Floyd Mayweather and Dimitri Bivol in a weight class higher than his norm. I don't want to give that as an excuse, though. Canelo just wasn't good enough. But he dared to be great, and that's a great thing as well. So props to Canelo for that. A lot of these guys wouldn't do that. And I'm sure there's way more interesting things to come from Canelo. So I'm looking forward to those things. Obviously, in the pipeline, there was the Triple G fight scheduled to be September 19th. I'd still like to see that fight. I actually think that's probably a logical come down. Triple G looked quite vulnerable earlier in his last fight against Murata. Vulnerable to the body in particular. Canelo's developing his body game. Triple G's way smaller than Bivol. He's slower. He's older. It's a good comeback fight. Beat and retire Triple G. I don't think he'll do it. He said he wants to go for the rematch. I wouldn't take the rematch personally. It is what it is. Move on. You dared to be great. You didn't make it. Go and be great in the division with which you work in. Yeah. Obviously, you've got Benavidez in 168. You've got all the Charlo brothers in 154 and that sort of thing. So in and around 160 and 168 anyway. So if that Triple G fight doesn't happen next, Triple G sort of needs a fight ASAP, and Chris Eubank Jr. did just call him out. Look, I don't think we're going to see that fight. It is what it is. Let's move on from Chris Eubank Jr. But yeah, man. What a night in combat sports. Rose Namajunas lost her title. Didn't show up. Tony Ferguson got stopped viciously for the first time in his career that way. Canelo lost on points in, I want to say Vegas. I think it was Vegas. Then, wow, Jesus Christ. The main event of the UFC 274. Charles Oliveira versus Justin Gaethje. Before we get stuck into that, though, let's talk about what was happening in the lead up to that. So let's just cast our minds back quickly. So it's Friday, weigh-in day, and everyone weighs in. Justin Gaethje weighs in fairly early, so he can rehydrate fairly early. Great, looking good, all good. The last person to weigh in is Justin Gaethje. No, sorry, that's a lie. Last person to weigh in. I'm tired, right? I was up till like 7 in the morning last night. The last person to weigh in is Charles Oliveira. He misses weight first time, 155.5. Shit, what's going on? He's got an hour to lose that half pound. Let's hope he... I keep refreshing my feed. Let's hope he loses it. Okay, he's back. They get the box out so he can take all his clothes off, etc., etc., etc. Holds his hands up. 155.5. What? He didn't lose anything. So in a whole hour, he didn't lose a pound. So what are you doing, bro? What did you do? Obviously, that's a sign that his body is just completely depleted. He's got no fluid. I've got nothing left. He's got no fluid left. He can't lose anything else, so he just didn't. And I don't mean he didn't for lack of trying. I mean he didn't because his body didn't. Wild. Okay, so he loses the title on the scales. He's the first fighter to ever lose his titles on the scales. So first of all, congrats on the performance and on the accolade there. But also, what the fuck, man? You had your weight problems at 150, 145, but now at 155 you haven't missed weight once. What's going on? How could you be so silly? Like, this is a big moment for you. There was a bit of confusion around whether that means Justin Gaethje is even eligible to win the title, but in the end, it happened so that as soon as the fight started, Charles Oliveira would have effectively vacated his title, meaning that if Justin Gaethje wins, then he is the new undisputed lightweight champion of the world. But even if Charles Oliveira wins, then he is no longer eligible to be the champion because he didn't make championship weight, and therefore he would just be instated as the number one contender. Okay, cool. We've got that all under wraps now. So that cast a lot of doubt on my prediction. I was shook. Okay? I was very shook that he was going to be depleted, distracted, upset. And obviously, as all this is going on, you may not know this, but as all this is going on, you've got some fighters who are weighing in saying that actually the scales that we used in the hotel were off. They were about 2 pounds out. So we all thought we were about lower and da-da-da-da. And, you know, when you get on the real scales, da-da-da-da. The scales that they used in the official weigh-in are analog scales. And, you know, in 2022, why aren't we just using, you know, digital scales, man? Calibrated digital scales. Why not? I don't get it. But anyway. So yeah, that's all going through my mind. I'm thinking, I'm doubting my prediction and all that. And, you know, I'm on a really bad run of predictions anyway. So it'll be nice if I got one right for once. And then I see Drake, big boy Drake, puts $500,000 on Justin Gaethje, which is basically he's signing your fate as a loser. If Drake bets on you, you've lost the fight. It's over for you. So yeah, I sort of felt a little bit more relaxed there. All good. The fight comes around anyway. Let's get to it. The fight comes around, and it's just violent, man. Within the first 10 seconds, Justin Gaethje's been rocked by Charles Oliveira. But then we know Charles Oliveira is chinny. Gets caught, couple hooks, bam, 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 bam. Yeah? Drops on the floor, but he opens his guard straight away. So he's on the floor and he's inviting Justin Gaethje in. Justin Gaethje obviously backs up. The referee stops it. Mark Goddard did a great job. Stands up Charles Oliveira. I keep calling him Charlie Olives. Stands up Charles Oliveira, and then they continue on the fight on the feet. And you know his inside game is mean, and obviously Justin's landing his signature leg kicks. But in the end, Charles begins to block them and check them, doing amazing work. And long story short, right? Charlie just decimates Justin Gaethje. Right hands. Hurts him, and then, you know, a couple times he just jumps on him, pulls guard, okay, which means he's basically trying to get him in a submission there and then, pulls him down, gets him in a submission, or attempts anyway. Thought he had a triangle, didn't. Thought he had an armbar, didn't. Eventually, he gets on his back, and he sinks in a rear naked choke. And, yeah, that's all she wrote, man. Justin Gaethje, who's been calling him a quitter, okay, he ended up tapping out to Charlie Oliveira, but Mark Goddard got there slightly too late. Not a criticism at all. Gets there slightly too late, and he passes out. He finishes him. But obviously, of course, it's not and still. It's not even a defense. It's just a win for Charlie Oliveira. And yeah, One thing I wanted to bring up though as well is that before the fight, Justin Gaethje said in episode 4, at the end of episode 4 of the UFC embedded for this card, Justin Gaethje said, and I quote, "I create car crashes and I am the object with the most force." What a quote. Basically saying, you ain't tougher than me, you're a quitter. Because he's been calling him a quitter for the whole build-up. And then he got choked out. If you want to see the graphic we made for that one, check out the @Sensei'S Instagram page. We posted it there. It's mean. Charles Oliveira is a bad guy, man. And I often think, how much greater would he be if his vision was better? He gets rocked in every first round. And I think the reason he gets rocked is because he can't see them, man. He has really, really short vision, or he's really, really nearsighted. So if you're throwing a shot from just in or outside of range, he can't see it coming. And you know what? Long term, for me, the way I think as a fan anyway, I think it's quite concerning the amount of damage that he takes early on in his career, or in his fight, sorry. And over time, that's just going to add up. It's going to compound. And there's only so much one can take before it's lights out, like Tony Ferguson. So let's just enjoy the ride. He's phenomenal, man. He's phenomenal. Hits hard, quick, fast, intelligent, well-rounded, a devil on the ground, and he's getting better on the feet. Yeah, man. Charles Oliveira. Yeah. Obviously, this morning I had to get a little coffee in, rest up, chill out. But yeah, it was a wild night of fights, man. Like, and that's, I loved it. It was great to get up and experience those things live, rather than wake up and see these things unfold after. But let's see if I've missed anything out. So just bear with me 1 second, and I'll have a look, see if I've missed anything. I don't think I have. Obviously, Kell Brook retired on Friday, or it might have been Saturday morning, I don't know. But Kell Brook retired, man. What a career. I think he had 43 fights, 28 knockouts. I think he only lost 3 times. I think that's about his record anyways, but it's in and around that. Fantastic, man. What a career. I mean, look, obviously he won the world title in America versus Sean Porter, put on a clinic that night. Didn't really set the world alight with any of his title defenses, and then winning against Triple G and then Errol Spence, and lost both of those fights via sort of stoppage because of the orbital bones. Put a big pause in his career. Came back in a lackluster 154 performance. And then, you know, did the Terence Crawford thing and those sorts of things. So, like, look, the tail end of his career wasn't spectacular by any means, but they say you remember the peaks and you remember the endings. Yeah? The peaks of Kell Brook's career was the Sean Porter performance. Stellar. The ending of Kell Brook's career was stopping Amir Khan in 6 rounds in a domestic rivalry 10 years in the making. What a career. You can't ask more than that. Fantastic. Well done, Kell Brook. We salute you over here in Sofa Sensei's. Great job, buddy. Let's see if I've missed anything out from last night. So, obviously, the card opens. Michael Chandler, bleeding first round, smashes up Tony Ferguson with that front kick. Does about 18 backflips. Athletic as hell. Obviously, he just adopted a new son as well, so congratulations to him and his family. What a great way to enter that. It's really depressing what happened to Tony Ferguson, and I hope he retires. We'll see. Oh, yeah. Daniel Cormier got inducted into the Hall of Fame. A well-worthy inductee there. Fantastic career. Did great things for the sport. That great rivalry with John Jones. Always sort of has the moral high ground with that one, although he lost all of the fights. Stipe Miocic trilogy. Look, he did it, man. He had a great career. And he's still a scary man now. McGregor, he responds to Michael Chandler by saying, "I'll have a nice knock off this guy. No doubt about it. A firework spectacle. I like the 170 shout also. Tipped him over." What's really ironic there is I said tipped him over and then the mic fell over. But anyway, tipped him over. I'm definitely game to fight this guy at some point, at some stage in my career, which basically means, not now, I've got bigger money to make and then I'll call you out after you probably lost a few and you're more vulnerable. I see it happening after tonight. Congrats on a solid win, Michael, and another barnstormer. That's true. You know, he has had a career and made a career out of barnstormers, so Michael Chandler's doing what he needs to do to be relevant. Canelo got put under pressure. Rose disappointed. Jesus, man. The Drake curse is real, man. And that up kick, Jesus. And McGregor on a tirade again. McGregor is the undisputed Twitter champion, let's be real. He tweeted today, stray shots at Steve-O, by the way. Gaethje is a jackass. The amount of absolute dribble he speaks as well. Over and over. A grade A jackass. A bird brain with a bird brain manager. 2 bum twats they are. He is a jackass. Steve-O, crackhead in recovery, should see Can Johnny give him a part. I can read better than that, but I'm tired. I don't know what McGregor's on about, man. He's just, wild guy. But that's the UFC 274 review. What do you think? Let us know, man. I really would love to, engage in a conversation with you guys, see what you think. Canelo lost. What does that do for his career? What does that do for his legacy? Is he the greatest Mexican ever? People have a lot more to debate now. Floyd Mayweather, I wanted to mention this. Floyd Mayweather come out and revealed a 10 grand bet that he put on Bivol to beat Canelo, and said, easy money. Bro, Mayweather's actually like an obsessed ex, because Mayweather, he definitely bets about 10 grand on every Canelo fight for him to lose. And then, obviously, when Canelo wins, he doesn't post it. And now Canelo's lost, he's posting it like he was the crystal ball Mayweather. Or Mystic Mayweather, I don't know. It's a bit bitter, like, bro, you've got a fight coming up on the 14th, an exhibition fight. No one's interested in it. We're not going to cover it on here, and I haven't seen it being covered anywhere else. Just get your money and carry on, bro. Like, boxing's moved on. Okay, a guy you beat lost again. Big wow, he's still making big moves. Be proud of him, if anything. Talk of the proud, really proud of Kell Brook. And that wraps it up, man. UFC 274, the only sort of stain on it for me was Rose Namajunas. And actually, I left it thinking that if we did get that Cowboy Joe Lozon fight, it would have been a solid, I'd say 10 out of 10 card. It was amazing. Except the fact that we didn't get Joe Lozon versus Cowboy, because it would have been nice to see some legends have a little throwdown. And Rose was a real disappointment. So with those things in mind, I'd probably give it a 6.5, Yeah, 6.5. So that's it from us. So for Sensei'S, we're signing out. Hope you enjoyed that. Please, if you enjoy any of our podcasts, get in touch with us. Leave a 5-star review. It really helps the podcast out. Share it with 3 friends. Again, the more people that know about us, the more we can keep doing this content. So please do share. Like I say, that is the UFC 274 review. We can be contacted at akhi&saltfish on Instagram, Twitter, and akhi&saltfish@gmail.com. If you want to get on the show, if you want to talk about the show, contact us, get in touch. We can definitely make that happen. It's been great. I'm really tired. It's been a long day. But we won't stop. We'll keep doing these things. And we'll see you again next time. Thanks again for Troy for this opener and closer. Midnight Siren if you're interested. Try find it, I dare ya. Exclusive.